Welcome back to Rapture Tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and get ready for another story you won't forget. Let's dive back to the story. Isabella Thompson had always been admired for her elegance and poise. Her dark, lustrous hair framed a face that could charm anyone, and she moved through life as if it were a runway. Growing up with a busy chauffeur father and a mother who ran a thriving business, she rarely experienced home-cooked meals. Left to her own devices, Isabella developed a habit of relying entirely on restaurants and takeaways. It wasn't laziness as much as convenience. She loved the thrill of trying new dishes, the elegance of dining out, and the freedom from cooking. Over time, she prided herself on never having to cook a meal, believing her lifestyle was aspirational and enviable. Her flatmate and childhood friend, Charlotte Bennett, watched Isabella's habits with concern. Charlotte had learned to cook from her family and knew the value of cleanliness and self-reliance. She frequently advised Isabella to consider cooking at home for health and financial reasons, but Isabella always dismissed her concerns. She saw Charlotte's advice as unnecessary interference, insisting that life was too short to slave over pots and pans. The tension between them grew, though Charlotte remained patient, secretly hoping Isabella would one day realize the importance of taking care of herself. Isabella's indulgent lifestyle continued unabated until she met Edward Lawson, a wealthy and handsome entrepreneur. Edward had charm, sophistication, and a taste for finer things, which perfectly complemented Isabella's glamorous demeanor. They began dating, with Edward often taking her to expensive restaurants, introducing her cuisine she had never experienced. Isabella quickly fell for him, not just because of his looks, but because he seemed to validate her luxurious habits. Dining out became a shared ritual, one that solidified their bond and made Isabella feel even more sophisticated. Their romance took an unexpected turn when Edward decided to visit Isabella at her apartment and requested she cook for him. Panic set in. Isabella had never boiled an egg, let alone prepared a full meal. She offered to order food from a fancy restaurant, but Edward's disappointment was palpable. He had expected a touch of domestic skill to match her elegance, and the realization that she lacked even basic cooking knowledge left him stunned. The evening ended abruptly with Edward leaving, and Isabella was left alone, heartbroken and humiliated, questioning the lifestyle she had always taken for granted. In the days that followed, Isabella tried to drown her embarrassment in lavish meals at new restaurants. One in particular caught her eye, a luxurious-looking eatery with glowing reviews and enticingly low prices. The ambience was perfect, and the food appeared immaculate. She began visiting regularly, convinced she had found a hidden gem. Each meal reinforced her belief that appearances could be trusted and that she had no need to change her habits. The allure of convenience and luxury blinded her to potential dangers. One evening, while eating a delivery meal from her favorite restaurant, Isabella froze. Among the perfectly arranged dishes lay a dead cockroach. Shocked and disgusted, she initially tried to dismiss it, assuming it was a one-off mistake. Yet, a gnawing unease settled over her as she considered what she might have ingested unknowingly in the past. Despite this unsettling discovery, Isabella's habit was hard to break. She rationalized that the restaurant looked clean, and that one insect could mean the kitchen was unsafe. Her desire for convenience overrode common sense. Weeks later, Isabella fell seriously ill for the third time in as many weeks. Severe fevers, persistent vomiting, and unbearable stomach pains sent her to the hospital. Doctors diagnosed her with a rare bacterial infection typically found in unsanitary food preparation environments. The physician's stern warning about hygiene and the dangers of eating out excessively left Isabella shaken. She had narrowly escaped serious harm, and yet the lure of her favorite restaurant continued to tempt her, demonstrating how deeply ingrained habits can cloud judgment. Determined to understand why she kept falling ill, Isabella decided to investigate the restaurant herself. After finishing a meal one evening, she pretended to need the restroom. Finding it occupied, she wandered down a hall until discovering a swinging door that led directly into the kitchen. The sight that met her eyes was horrific. Raw meat lay exposed, flies hovered in swarms, dirty dishes piled high, and rats scurried across the floor. The chef, oblivious of cleanliness, was stirring soup with the same hand she had just used to scratch her armpit. The horror of the kitchen hit Isabella like a physical blow. The realization that she had trusted appearances over reality filled her with shame and disgust. Every luxurious detail of the restaurant's dining area had masked an unspeakable level of filth behind the scenes. For the first time, she fully understood the wisdom of Charlotte's advice. This moment marked a turning point, a painful but necessary awakening. She vowed to never again let convenience or aesthetics dictate her health and well-being. Returning home, Isabella took immediate action. She cleared her cluttered kitchen, disinfected every surface, and purchased essential cooking utensils. She spent hours online learning basic recipes, relying on instructional videos and step-by-step guides. Charlotte offered hands-on guidance, showing patience as Isabella fumbled through her first attempts. Despite early mistakes, the effort was rewarding. Each home-cooked meal became a symbol of independence, self-respect, and newfound responsibility. As weeks passed, Isabella's health improved dramatically. She no longer experienced the fevers and stomach issues that had plagued her. The meals she prepared, though simple, were nourishing and hygienic, restoring her confidence and pride. She discovered joy in the process of cooking, choosing ingredients, experimenting with flavors, and presenting dishes that she knew were safe. Her reliance on restaurants diminished entirely, replaced by the satisfaction of self-reliance and control over her lifestyle. Unexpectedly, Edward re-entered her life. Having heard of her ordeal and seen the positive changes she had made, he reached out to apologize for leaving abruptly. Edward expressed admiration for Isabella's determination to learn and improve, acknowledging that he had misjudged her. Isabella, having matured and gained confidence, was cautious but receptive. The encounter sparked a deeper understanding between them, one based on respect, growth, and shared values rather than superficial appearances. Their reconciliation was gradual but sincere. Isabella invited Edward over for a home-cooked dinner, preparing her favorite new recipes with care. Edward was genuinely impressed, not just by the food, but by the effort, discipline, and pride she exhibited. The evening was a quiet revelation. Love, he realized, was not about perfection, but about encouragement, patience, and support for growth. Isabella, in turn, recognized the value of partnership founded on respect rather than admiration alone. Life began to settle into a healthier rhythm. Isabella's kitchen became a sanctuary where she experimented with recipes and planned meals for the week. Charlotte continued to guide her, offering tips for efficiency and hygiene. Dining out became a rare treat rather than a habitual necessity. Isabella noticed improvements in her energy, mood, and overall well-being, and she felt a deep sense of accomplishment that she had never experienced while relying on restaurant alone. Workdays transformed as well. Isabella now carried home-cooked meals to her office, delighting in the satisfaction of nourishing herself with safe, clean food. Colleagues commented on her glow and vitality, curious about the change. Each lunch break became a quiet reminder of the independence and responsibilities she had embraced. The lessons learned from her hospital visits and the shocking restaurant discovery continued to resonate, reinforcing her commitment to a healthier, self-reliant lifestyle. Isabella's friends began to notice the shift in her character. Charlotte smiled, knowing her long-standing advice had finally taken root. Even Edward observed the difference, appreciating her maturity and resilience. Isabella herself felt a quiet pride in having confronted her flaws and taken control of her habits. She realized that true sophistication came not from appearances or convenience, but from self-discipline, care, and the courage to grow. Months passed, and Isabella's relationship with Edward deepened. Their connection was now grounded in mutual respect and shared experiences. Edward often joined her in the kitchen, learning a few recipes and helping with meal preparation, turning the once intimidating task into a shared ritual. Together, they built a partnership that celebrated effort, learning, and hygiene, qualities Isabella had once overlooked but now held dear. One evening, as they enjoyed a simple but delicious homemade dinner, Edward remarked on how far Isabella had come. She laughed, recalling her past obsession with luxurious takeaways and the disastrous restaurant experiences. The conversation turned to their future, plans for family, and aspirations for a life rooted in care, cleanliness, and shared responsibility. Isabella felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that she had transformed her life and rekindled a relationship that valued growth over superficiality. The experience also reshaped Isabella's perspective on appearances. She understood that things were not always as they seemed, and that luxury could mask danger. The shocking lessons from the filthy restaurant remained etched in her memory, serving as a cautionary tale for anyone who prioritized convenience over care. She shared her story with close friends and family, hoping to prevent others from repeating her mistakes and to emphasize the importance of hygiene and vigilance in everyday choices. Over time, Isabella became a symbol of resilience and transformation among her social circle. People admired her for having turned a series of humiliating and dangerous experiences into a journey of growth and empowerment. Her story spread as a reminder that personal responsibility, self-reliance, and attention to hygiene were not just mundane tasks. They were essential life skills. Isabella had emerged stronger, healthier, and wiser, having learned lessons that would guide her for the rest of her life. Ultimately, Isabella's journey culminated in marriage to Edward, a union now built on trust, encouragement, and shared values. Their wedding was modest but meaningful, reflecting the new priorities they had embraced: love, care, and the wisdom gained from past mistakes. The couple often laughed at their early misadventures with restaurants and takeaways, grateful that those experiences had led to growth rather than despair. Isabella's transformation had touched every part of her life, from her health to her relationships. The moral of Isabella's story was clear and enduring. She had learned that appearances could be deceiving, that convenience should never replace responsibility, and that true love involved nurturing growth rather than leaving at the first sign of imperfection. Her journey from indulgence and carelessness to awareness and self-reliance served as a cautionary tale and a beacon of inspiration. In the end, Isabella's life became a testament to resilience, self-improvement, and the rewards of embracing responsibility with courage and wisdom. That's all for today. Like, subscribe, and see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.